Hey, good afternoon. This is Mike Elligood, and I'm working on a graduate program here for Fort Hays, looking to make it so that I can become a superintendent. And this is Innovative Technology Integration Module 1. Um, Currently, I am working at Buhler High School. I'm the Buhler High School principal. At Buhler High, I have 650 students, give or take a few, depending on the day. I also have about 70 teachers, roughly 100 total staff, and we work very well. We believe in family. We believe in working with kids and doing what's best for each individual kid, like most school districts do. Some of my former positions that I've had, I'll start at the bottom. When my teaching career started, I started as a sixth grade science teacher at Kenneth Henderson Middle School in Garden City, Kansas. I worked there for 5 years, and then I moved to an intermediate school where I was a half-time sixth grade science teacher, and then I was also half-time assistant principal. I did that for 1 year, and then for the next 4 years I was the assistant principal full-time at Charles Stone's Intermediate School there in Garden City, Kansas. From there, in 2001, I moved to middle school principal here in Hutchinson at Hutchinson Middle School 8, where we just had 8th graders. I had about 350 8th graders, and it was working very well. And then 4 years later, in 2005, budget cuts come along, and so the superintendent asked me if I'd be the head principal between the 7th grade and the 8th grade building, and the two campuses were roughly a mile and a half, 2 miles apart. And so, yes, for the next 8 years, then I was middle school principal at both Hutchinson Middle School 7 and Hutchinson Middle School 8, and it was a very interesting time. Great people and great kids. Next, schooling, backing up a little bit further, I attended Fort Hays State University, where I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in building administration. And then prior to that, I went to Garden City Public Schools and graduated from Garden City High School in 1987. I'm currently married. And so I have 2 daughters here, as you can see in the picture, and then my son-in-law. Both of my daughters, my oldest one there in the orange shirt was or is currently a special education teacher at an elementary school here in Hutchinson. And my younger daughter has just started her first year as a biology teacher at Haven High School. And so they're both educators. And then my wife is a special education teacher at Head Start here in Hutchinson. And then my son-in-law is a farmer and works for a gentleman southwest of Hutchinson, Kansas here. As you can also see on the PowerPoint there, I put my parents were both educators. My mom was a elementary teacher and then a middle school counselor, high school counselor. And then my dad was a middle school counselor for his whole entire career from 1969 to 1996 when he graduated. So I come from a long line of educators in my family. The articles that we read, to me, you could culminate it by putting it together and saying several different things. First of all, I like the quote that they had there on one of the articles. It was on from Albert Einstein. It said, "A student is not a container to fill up, but a torch you have to light up." So with that being said, we take the opportunity, as you can see on the slide there at the very bottom, I said that remember that technology is a tool and not a replacement for a great teacher. So working to fill up or light up the student, and then using the technology as a tool to do that is what we're looking for. The article's kind of focused in on a couple of different things here. I saw one was leadership, where you have to have a chief technology officer. You have to work with your district leadership. You have to have distributed educational leadership, where you're trying to cover all of the different areas from kindergarten clear through 12th grade. You have to foster a safe environment for students and staff. You have to be you want them to be connected learners, so you have to have parts that keep everybody connected together. You want to have equity, so that across the different grade levels you have the equity so that everybody has access. You also want to have a systems designer so that you can show how that the technology can roll from one to the next. And one of the biggest things we have right now is we have to look at for the growth of social media. Social media in our kids today, as a high school principal, is becoming ever more challenging every day. So we've got to have that vision, or be a visionary, to show how we can work forward for kids. The next part that kind of pulled it together there was the mission and vision. Mission and vision should be student focused, and it should be a way that we look to engage students and prep students for their future jobs, and connect them with an experience so that they can see how, hey, I can use this piece of technology later on in my life or in my career. With that, though, with technology, you have to have a professional development plan. You have to have the knowledge and the skills. The article said you have to be able to integrate the 4 C's, which were critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity. So you want to make sure you create a compelling learning environment so that students, they can be engaged in it, and it's a tool, but you want to make it so that it's engaging, and so that they want to do it, so that they feel more comfortable do it. But you also want to create that balanced academic approach for assessments. And once again, remember that technology is a tool, not a replacement for a great teacher. Fortunate in the district that I work at in Buhler, as you can see by the graphic on the right hand side there, the mission is an exceptional educational experience for all. We're looking to take and make it so that every student can move forward irregardless of what their capabilities or abilities are. And our vision is to develop generations of positive world changers, which would go right along with what the articles were saying, making it so that students can see how they can take the technology and bridge it into what their job or their future plans are going to be. We're very fortunate in our leadership here in Buhler. Of course, we have a superintendent and assistant superintendent, but we also have a technology coordinator that works on the hardware side of it. And then we also have an integration technology specialist that actually gets to work with the teachers and the students to take the technology that we have and make it so that they can utilize it even more. Through the professional development, they can do that one-on-one or in small groups, but it has to be consistent, and it has to be often, so that students can have maximum benefit. We have to make sure that the teachers can take the information, utilize the programs, and make it so that it is productive for students. We're also very fortunate in Buhler that we have devices. We currently use Chromebooks for our 9-12. Middle school has iPads, and then back in the elementary, then we have Chromebooks. Part of the reasoning for that is because of cost. At the high school, we used to have MacBook Pros, which was very good for our students, but they were also very expensive, and for about 1/4 of the cost, you can get into a Chromebook, and that was beneficial because of the fact that for the cost, for one, but also most of what we were doing was web-based, so it made it so that it was very, very easy for students to continue once they figured out the new device, and of course, they figured out quicker than the adults. Covered this slide a little bit already, the one-to-one devices, 3rd through 12th grade, but we also have classroom sets at the kindergarten through 2, so that students can check out technology 3rd through 6th grade, because they don't get to take it home. It's kept at school, but it's come in very handy, like in the times we're in right now with the shutdowns of schools, to be able to take that technology, send it home, so that kids and parents can still have access to the technology, which helps with our integrating the lessons into their programs or into their homes using technology versus straight packets. We'll do a blended approach where we have some of both. We do have support teachers, whether that be through PD. We also have a very big PLC school district where teachers learn from teachers. Our best experts are those that are currently in the classroom already, and how they can share. We send a few to different PD places out there. ITSE is one of them that we have several staff that go to every year, and they pick up ideas and they will bring them back and then be able to share with our team leaders, and then the team leaders can then share it with their individual teams, whether that be math or English or science or whatever their team happens to be. We also, like I said, have an integration technology specialist that takes them and shows Mr. or Mrs. whomever how they can integrate it into their classroom so that it is good for kids, so that they know that here's how I can best use this as a tool to get it so that the kids understand better the principles or the standards that we're trying to teach. The next slide here shows model personal and professional ethics. Some of the things I do, Facebook, of course I have district Facebook, school Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, messenger groups, all of those, but I keep them separate from my personal accounts, and I don't accept students into my personal accounts until after they've graduated. The main reason for that is not that I put anything illegal or inappropriate on there. It's just sometimes I don't always want students to know everything that's happening in my life, because I also have a personal life, and so they don't need to know everything that's happening there. But I do use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Messenger as a school so that we can make sure that we see the different platforms that the kids are on. Of course, they're also using Snapchat and others, TikTok. Out there all the time, but and that's what the next bullet talks about there, is we need to monitor students and staff as well. Some of the things we've done to help it so that students can get to more of these different sites is we open them up. We opened up our Wi-Fi to a guest Wi-Fi. Of course, the guest Wi-Fi has a filter on it a little bit because of the things you have to filter for safety and security for students, but we also then have a staff network, so staff have more access than students would. Critique myself, my personal decision making. I don't know, those are just beliefs I live by. I'm not going to put anything on there that I wouldn't want my family to look at, and so that's what I try to do. I try to be very open up front and try to do it that way. Some leadership decision making, how is it helping kids to get better? When I look to say whether or not we want to have some technology or we want to put something out, how is it going to make kids better? How's it going to make my teachers better so that they can reach kids and improve it? Because we want to make sure that we build positive connections. We want to make sure we teach kids that the technology we have, we're very blessed in Buhler, but we also want to make sure that they understand that it's there, it's a tool. They got to learn when they can use it, when they can't. We don't have cell phone policy that says, ours is pretty simple. If a teacher says put it away when I'm teaching, you don't have it out. When you get it out, if it's interfering with your learning, then we're going to take it away. But other than that, we want to teach them there's a time and a place for all of the technology so that they can use it, so that they can continue to get better. So that's a little bit about where I'm at, what I'm doing. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at. I have good students, I have good staff, very blessed with the technology that we have and that the support that we have to go along with it, and look forward to learning a little bit more in this class as we go, how we can even integrate technology to make it a better tool for our students. The last page here is the reference page that we were asked to do. This is from the articles that we had. So looking forward to seeing some of yours, some of your other principals, superintendents, whatever is taking this class, teachers, just so we can learn and grow together. Thank you.